A continuación, en Poder 97.1, tu hora informativa. Entrevistas e información para nuestra comunidad. Y ahora con ustedes, Ida Pérez.
Buenos días, mi gente de Rochester, y bienvenido a su hora informativa. Mi nombre es Ida Pérez y para mí es un verdadero placer poder estar con ustedes en esta mañana. Su hora informativa es un programa que les trae información importante que nos inspira a una mejor calidad de vida para usted y su familia. Cubrimos información sobre los campos de salud, educación, empleo, vivienda y muchos otros temas más que nos afectan como persona y como pueblo. Su hora informativa está aquí todos los sábados de 10 a 11 de la mañana y nos alegramos muchísimo de que estén con nosotros en el día de hoy. Hoy tengo unas invitadas que no las he tenido anteriormente, eso me alegro muchísimo de poder tenerla. I was just saying that I have some guests here today that I've never had before and I'm really excited to have you on. Le voy a pedir a cada una de ellas que se presente, que nos diga su nombre, de dónde eres originalmente y cuánto tiempo llevas aquí en Rochester. So I'm going to ask for you to introduce yourself, tell us your name, where you're originally from, and how long have you been here in Rochester? And I don't know, who wants to start? ¿Quién quiere empezar?
I can start.
Okay, good.
Hello, my name is Loren Walker, and I am a nutrition educator at Cornell Cooperative Extension of Monroe County, and I've been working here for 3 years. I grew up in Albion, a very small town here in New York, and I was living in Rochester for about 2 years, and I recently relocated to Holly.
Oh, okay.
So I've been kind of moving around.
Okay. And where's your family originally from?
So my mom, she's from St. Lucia, and my dad, he's from here in America.
Okay. And how did they meet?
I think it was through like a vacation. My dad was in St. Lucia, and they met, and
Get out.
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
He went for vacation and came back with love.
Yes.
Nice. That's pretty cool. That's a cool story. Who wants to go next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
Yes. My name is Iluminada Vilca. I am a nutrition educator, also at Cornell Cooperative Extension, and I'm the lead for the FBRX program. I've been here in Rochester for 9 years. I'm originally actually from Peru, so I'm a bilingual nutrition educator. I speak Spanish.
And what brought you here to Rochester?
Work.
Work.
Yeah,
Okay.
it brought me work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was living in DC for 6 years, and then I moved to Rochester.
Oh, okay. Nice. What about you?
Hi, good morning. My name is Alyssa Van Valkenburg, and I was actually born in Rochester, and then my parents moved to Irondequoit when I was like 4 years old. And I've been the county nutrition educator for Cornell Cooperative Extension since December of last year, so it's been about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's your family originally from?
So originally my parents, they grew up in Endicott in like Binghamton area, and then Kodak brought us to Rochester.
Yeah.
My dad took a job in one of those buildings across the river there, basically a lot of family came from that point. So yeah. That's it.
Yeah, I always like to ask that question because, people, there's a lot of reasons why people end up in Rochester, right? Some of it is work, some of it is love, some of it is because they have families here for a better life, for opportunities, some is for education. And so I always like to ask that question because we feel like we're so different, but yet we have so many things that are in common, right? And coming to Rochester is one of them. And also because people complain about Rochester all the time, but yet there's people that come here and find us to be their home and stay here forever. And so that's why I always like to ask that question about where you're originally from and what brought you here to Rochester. So thank you for answering that. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about some of the programs that you guys offer within Cornell as well as with the county. So I don't know who wants to start first about what exactly do you do in your roles with this? They're all looking at each other.
Yeah, so I'll kind of give a broad general overview of our programs and what we provide. So we're all nutrition educators, and we go out into the community. It's a community-focused a job. So we go out to the community, we teach nutrition workshops, And we work with all different ages, all different groups of people, and providing those nutrition resources that can really help to help people understand more about small things that they can do to live a healthier life. We also do food demonstrations, cooking classes. Not only, do we do the nutrition presentation side, but we do more of the food and cooking part of it too.
Yeah. Cool. Iluminada, can you answer that question in Spanish? So la pregunta era, ¿qué exactamente hacen ustedes a través de su trabajo?
Sí, lo que hacemos básicamente es educar a la comunidad, a traer información sobre nutrición. Vamos a todas las edades, desde niños hasta personas adultas mayores, tratando de educarles qué es lo que necesitan en el plato diariamente, ¿no? Para poder vivir saludables.
Sí, claro.
Sí.
Ella estaba diciendo que no solamente dan sobre la nutrición, pero también clases de cocina, de cómo cocinar.
Sí, también. Hacemos demostraciones de comida, enseñamos qué es lo que necesitan, pero también cómo se puede hacer en casa, ¿verdad? Con lo que uno tiene en casa.
Sí, claro.
Y también los recursos, porque sabemos que muchas veces uno piensa que las frutas vegetales van a ser muy caros, pero podemos tener las frutas y vegetales también congeladas, que no pierden su valor nutritivo.
Sí.
O otras formas de cómo consumirlas, ir al mercado público, por ejemplo.
Sí, claro. And do you guys find that when you do these demonstrations, she was talking about, sometimes people think that fruits and vegetables are too expensive, but, if you get them frozen, it's the best next thing, right, to being fresh. But do you find when you're doing these demonstrations, do you find people to talk about the necessities for certain foods or the lack of certain foods? Like, what is that experience like?
Yeah, I can answer that. I think that it's just like from baseline, it's important to meet people where they're at. So as Loren said, we're going out into the community, and usually we're going to locations where people are at schools, like if it's children, or adults are at a community center. So being able to talk to those folks and ask them open-ended questions about their life, I think is really important, because then we can have more of a perspective of where they're coming from. Maybe they don't know where their next meal is coming from, or they have restructured their life and they're downsizing. I know I work with a lot of seniors who they just don't want to cook as much. So
Right.
let's be honest, if you don't want to cook as much, you have to kind of think of creatively how to make simple meals, easy meals. But I think we could all agree that finding tasty recipes that people can sample is always a way to get people to try something and be like, oh, I didn't think that I liked applesauce, but I haven't had it in a while. And all it is 2 ingredients. This is fantastic.
Yeah.
And sometimes they surprise you. They make their own recipes.
So, la pregunta era, sé que ustedes dan demostraciones y sé que estabas hablando de cuando no hay frutas y vegetales, pues lo más mejor es congelado, ¿verdad? Lo más cercano es ir congelado. Pero se encuentran ustedes con personas que cuando dan estas demostraciones hablan y comparten con ustedes la necesidad de comida, de que no saben de dónde va a venir su próxima comida.
Sí, lo que mencionaba Alisa era de que, por ejemplo, hay personas que no les gusta cocinar, no tienen esa actividad, o están a veces deprimidos y no pueden, no saben qué es lo que pueden hacer. Entonces nosotros les damos esas tips, consejos, ¿verdad? Para poder ayudarles a cómo poder hacerlo en casa. Y lo que nosotros también proveemos es de vouchers. Esto es el que tal vez vamos a explicar después, el programa de frutas y vegetales, que son cupones que pueden utilizar en Wegmans, en Tops, para poder tener frutas y vegetales frescos también.
Sí, claro. So what are the ages and where do you go? Like what places are open to receive you guys as for these demonstrations?
Yeah, it starts, pretty young, the youth. We work with the youth a lot, teens, adults, and seniors. So really through all stages of life. That's our target audience, just everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, la pregunta era, ¿qué edades, verdad?
Sí.
¿Y a dónde pueden las personas conseguir
Sí.
estas demostraciones?
Los tenemos en todas edades, desde los niños chiquitos, ¿verdad? Hasta los grandes. Tratamos de llegar a toda la comunidad. Sí.
So if someone is interested in you guys doing a demonstration, let's say they have already a captured audience, how does that work? How do they communicate with you?
Well, I'd say the benefit of reaching out to Cornell Cooperative Extension is that we have 4 nutrition educators. So 3 of them are the SNAP, and then I am the county nutrition educator. So we can find a way to connect with whatever community partner that is and talk about the details. We're also, especially around the farmers market season, we're at a lot of local events and farmers markets. So that's another way to engage like the community at large. But certainly having strong partnerships with community organizations like schools, after school programs. For my program, the county nutrition program, we go to a lot of senior centers and provide like a monthly presentation. So I think it's definitely wonderful to hear from folks that are interested in nutrition education. It might spark us to start a new collaboration that way.
Gotcha. So la pregunta era cómo, ¿verdad? Si alguien está interesado en que ustedes vengan y den una demostración, ¿cómo lo podrían hacer?
Sí, bueno, nosotros podemos ir a todas partes. Si tienen un grupo en el que quisieran ustedes que podamos ir, tenemos lo que son SNAP-Ed. Nosotros la educación que damos es gratis. No hay costo adicional. Entonces podemos ir a cualquier centro que necesite. Sí tratamos de ir a la población que recibe SNAP o es elegible.
¿Qué más necesite?
Sí. Entonces tratamos, pero tenemos también a Elisa que ella puede ir a otras áreas.
So what are some of the topics, right? Some of the topics that you might, or programs that you offer, the classes?
Yeah, I feel like the main one, well, first maybe I should start out with, we do curriculum, different curricula that's focused on various different topics. So we don't come up with our own type of material. It's already done for us, and there's a certain layout that we follow.
Okay. So there's an actual curriculum that you have to follow.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
cool.
So some of these different topics that may be in the curricula include added sugars versus natural sugars, whole grains versus refined grains, our lesson on fast foods and unhealthy and healthy fats. Yeah, that's a really popular one. Eating healthy on a budget, that's a really good one that our participants seem to really get a lot out of.
Yeah. Those are all really good topics too, just thinking about nutrition itself and what a lot of people deal with, right? The added sugars, the fast foods, and how to budget yourself. I have to say my daughter is really good about budgeting her meals, because she's really manages her money well. And so she has like a whole little spreadsheet of, how much she's going to spend on food. And she does have 2 growing kids and a husband, and so she really does really good about planning her meals, and I'm really proud of her for doing that, because most people don't, right? They just go to grocery and they just add a bunch of junk stuff in there, things that are quick and easy, and she's always looking, okay, what can I make in a crock pot that's going to be inexpensive, but still good for my family, that I can feed everybody and maybe have a little extra for lunch the next day. So she's really thoughtful about that. So that's really cool that you guys kind of touch on those type of things. So la pregunta era, ¿verdad? ¿Qué clases de clase ustedes dan? Ella está diciendo que tienen un currículum. So dinos un poquito de los temas en el currículum.
Los temas que básicamente podemos tocar son en cuanto al azúcar. Tratamos de ver lo que es en el plato, los grupos de alimentos. Vemos lo que puede ser económico para ellos, para poder hacer una comida saludable, y tratar de ver también el tema de la sal, ¿verdad? Que también es importante, cuánto es lo que uno debe consumir. Hay muchos temas. Podemos hacer clases que sean seguidas de 4 a 6 clases, una vez por semana, o podemos también hacer una sola clase, un solo tema. Sí.
Y todos temas bien importantes, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Temas de las azúcares adicionales,
Sí.
de los fast
O
foods,
de la grasa.
de la
Ajá.
grasa. Especialmente when you were saying earlier, when people don't want to cook, then you tend to go to the fastest thing, right? It's
Yeah,
either
more
fast
convenient.
food or whatever, but that doesn't always have to be that way. You can think of other ways of creating fast meals without having to spend too much time in the kitchen and not having to go to the fast foods itself. So, tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was going to say, I think it's just important to be practical too. So I know for me, I'm a mother of 2 young children, and I find it very tricky to juggle everything, working and so I think it's provided me a perspective, like you were talking about your daughter and what a great job she does with feeding her family and so I think it's like finding easy solutions. Like you could actually use some convenient foods like frozen fruit is like my go-to with my kids. I can't get enough of it because it has a long shelf life and they like it in most of their meals. With cooking for 2, I talk to seniors a lot about easy meals too. So, it's just providing tips and tricks and reminding people that they do have a lot of skills that they've carried throughout their life. And it's about their health too. So like finding that motivation to make these changes or positive lifestyle tricks because it's important for their health.
Yeah, perfect. Tell me a little bit about the fruit and vegetable prescription program. That sounds really interesting. And I wish I had a prescription now for fruits and vegetables, right? That the doctor would write out, okay, this is what you need.
Right?
Yeah.
Me too.
I don't know if that's what that
No.
means, but tell us a little bit about it.
So the fruit and vegetable prescription program is basically trying to link the health systems with the community services and then reach the SNAP eligible population. What we're trying to do is to reduce the chronic diseases, diet-related chronic diseases. So we provide the nutrition education. People come to the classes. They receive vouchers at the end of the classes. We also provide sometimes food demonstrations or physical activities. Now the vouchers are like 3 vouchers. Each one of them is $5. So they end up with $15 after each class. So if we have 6 classes planned, it will be like $90 what they get worth in vouchers.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so they can go somewhere and purchase
Yes.
fruits and vegetables
Yes.
with those.
Yeah,
Okay,
they can
gotcha.
go to Wegmans, Tops, the Rochester Public Market, Abundance Co-op, the curbside markets for Food Link.
Yeah,
So they
yeah.
accept the vouchers.
Nice, yeah. I like the Food Link curb markets. Whenever I see it, I'll try to stop and buy something from there. Yeah, cool. So, explícanos un poquito, ¿verdad? Porque
Sí.
aquí dice una receta para, como médica, pero para frutas y vegetales. So,
Sí.
explícanos cómo es eso.
Sí. Bueno, es básicamente tratar de evitar que se promuevan más las enfermedades crónicas, puede ser diabetes o hipertensión, para que ellos puedan aprender a cómo comer saludable, ¿verdad? Pero también se reciben cupones. Estos cupones van a ser de $5 cada uno, son 3 cupones que reciben, entonces es $15. Y si son 4 o 6 clases, entonces sería como $90 que reciben. Pueden utilizarlos en Wegmans, en Tops, en el mercado público de Rochester o también en Abundance Co-op y también en el curbside, en los camiones que vienen de Foodlink.
Sí, perfecto.
Sí.
Perfecto. Yo digo, necesito una receta así de
Sí.
mi doctor, ¿verdad? Esto es lo que necesita,
So,
frutas y vegetales.
Sí, la idea es de comer saludable,
Sí,
¿verdad?
sí.
Y la idea también es de que sus médicos van, porque saben del programa, ¿verdad? Por eso es que estamos tratando de tener más grupos, sistemas que se puedan unir con nosotros. Y ellos son los que van a decir, acá tengo pacientes, o les ofrecen ellos, ¿no? Les dicen, mira, tú tienes que ir a estas clases, llama a este teléfono. Entonces ellos llaman
ok.
y ahí se inscriben.
Ah,
Ajá.
perfecto.
Sí, sí.
So, si una persona, si el doctor no se lo ha ofrecido, usted se lo puede mencionar a su doctor entonces y decir,
Sí.
mira, me gustaría
Ajá.
participar en esto,
Ajá.
me
Sí.
podría ser el referido.
Ajá. Y no solamente también tiene que ser el médico el que refiera usted, porque estos flyers, esta información la tenemos en diferentes lugares. Ustedes solamente tienen que el teléfono llamar y ahí le dan la información.
Perfecto.
Y pueden inscribirse a las clases que tenemos.
Perfecto.
Sí.
So más tarde vamos a dar
Sí,
el
sí.
teléfono para que las personas lo tengan. She was saying how people can call. You don't have to be referred by your doctor, but you can actually call the number. So I do
Yeah.
want to give the number later so that people have it in the event that they want to
Yeah.
participate.
Be-
Yeah.
Because the idea, of course, is that the doctor is going to refer the patient, right? But then the patient can also see the flyer, and then they can inquire, they can make a
Yeah.
phone call.
Yeah.
We have also email. They can email
Perfect.
us.
Because I was thinking, if your doctor hasn't offered that for you, can you ask your doctor to refer you? And that's fine too. But you can also call yourself and refer yourself to the program.
Yes.
Awesome. So where do you give these? Like, do you have some constant places where you offer these workshops? That if a person doesn't belong to a particular group, can they find where you offer these? Can they go online or call your office and find out? Okay, our next classes we're going to be giving is next week, and this is where we're going to be, so people can come to you.
Yeah, some of the classes are going to be open to the public. They could be, let's say, at a library. It will depend on the availability of the educators.
Okay.
We normally go to the centers, like for example, at Rochester Regional Health, we had a group also open to the public. They don't need to be specifically from Rochester Regional
Right.
Health, but of course they are the ones who are promoting, so we have more of that population.
So la pregunta era
Ajá,
si
sí.
una persona quiere participar, no pertenece a un grupo en particular, puede llamar y ustedes le pueden decir, mira, vamos a tener clase la semana que viene en tal lugar, puedes venir a esta clase. So háblanos un poquito de eso.
Sí, tenemos el teléfono. Me tendrían que llamar a mí porque soy la bilingüe, entonces yo les doy la información, qué clases tenemos, dónde puede ser que ustedes, porque hay lugares donde están abiertos al público, pero hay otros que son más para los centros a los que vamos a trabajar. Y daba el ejemplo del hospital de Rochester Regional Health, que lo teníamos abierto para la población, ¿verdad? Y por supuesto teníamos más pacientes que venían de ahí, pero se puede hacer abierto.
Sí, perfecto,
Sí.
perfecto. So tell us more about like how impactful you think this is. I mean, I'm sure you served a lot of people. Do you get phone calls afterwards? Or do you get testimonies? Because this is hard to measure, right? To say, okay, we served 1,000 people, but out of those 1,000 people, how many do you really think you impacted and maybe it created some changes in their lives? Because that's hard.
Yeah, I think we definitely make a big impact when it comes to the community. An example that I have that just happened recently, one of the community partnerships I work with, I'm going to shout out Cameron Ministries. They had two volunteers there during the class I was teaching for the teens. And the following week after, my contact person let me know that those two volunteers, they learned so much during that presentation when it was more so for the teens, but actually the volunteers benefited from it as well.
Right.
So you find that with the different partnerships you have, either people looking in, that they'll get something from it as well. And I think what really makes a big impact during our presentations is we really try and focus on the visual aspect of what we're teaching too. For example, the example I gave with the added sugars and natural sugars, we try and do a visual of that. So how many teaspoons are in this Coca-Cola? And then we'll visually, yes, a ton. So we'll visually pour out sugar in a cup to showcase how much sugar. Same thing with fats, how much of the saturated fat is in a burger from McDonald's or Burger King. So that definitely creates more of a visual in people's brains.
Yeah, definitely. I remember going to one of Iluminada's presentations here in the community as a resident, and I was shocked with the amount of fat in a burger. And I think she actually gave us something that looked like fat that we could actually hold in our hands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean?
That's how fat looks inside
Yeah,
your body.
yes. And then the same thing with the sugar, which is something that I was speaking earlier before we started the show about this class that I give at REOC on child development, and I tell the students that are taking these classes the impact that they have on young lives. They're studying to work with children, infants and toddlers and preschoolers. And that's really when things start, right? And I said, the minute you give that baby, the minute you stick your finger in that soda and you stick it in the baby's mouth, already you're creating a bad habit, right? Because now that baby's tasting that soda and now getting used to that soda, and then that becomes a habit, right? Because you become addicted. I feel like some people are just addicted to soda and they don't realize. And I remember seeing somewhere, I don't know if it was a Netflix documentary or something, the impact that soda has the minute you drink it, like what it does to your brain, what it does to your body, what it does to your organs, and that's just the reaction of it. That's not even what it's actually doing, the damage that it's doing to your body because of the amount of sugars, because of all the things that are added to them. And so not teaching kids to drink soda from a very young age is important because it is addicting. And I'm sure you guys can talk more about that than I can because I'm not a nutritionist, but just reading and knowing, right? And soda is one of those things that I don't drink anymore because of that, because of the amount of sugar that it has and the effects that it has on your body. And for women, even more, because once you go through menopause, it does even more damage. So you just don't drink soda. I know Coca-Cola and Pepsi doesn't want me to say that, but it's true. I mean, it's so bad for you. So if somebody can elaborate a little more of that and maybe talk more about those facts.
Well, talking back to the soda, there is one curriculum that specifically mentions this example. That imagine a person drinking one glass of soda. Like one glass of soda will have like 10 teaspoons of sugar. Now imagine one person drinking one glass every day for 365 days in a year, right? How much sugar do you think that person alone be drinking or eating? Right?
I remember when I stopped drinking soda, the very first year I lost 10 pounds just by not drinking soda.
Just that one thing.
Just that one thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power. Just the
yes.
knowledge to know that that's the case can be very powerful.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's so important to be a role model because going back to the schools and excuse me, and just mentioning one anecdote that I had because it's also the teachers the ones that are learning there, right? And I remember I went to one classroom and I thought about fat and everything, and then goes the teacher there goes, Miss Iluminada, look, I bought an air fryer. We are enjoying at home, and I have lost weight. And this, it is good. Yeah.
No, yeah, definitely. I mean, I think about, again, for my students, it's really important to help them understand what impacts they have, right? The same thing with foods. Like there's a lot of foods that we never try because it's not part of our culture and we don't really know what they are. And, so we kind of like frown to them when they're served, and how important it is to encourage kids to eat different types of foods and different types of fruits and vegetables. Because I have to admit, us Latino Puerto Ricans, we mostly eat lettuce and tomato. That's it. Like we don't explore different other types of like asparagus or spinach or, we just don't. You go to somewhere and they're going to give you lettuce and tomatoes. That's it when it comes to vegetables. And so trying to think outside of the box and, encouraging, and I tell them, you have the opportunity to expose these kids to things that they've never been exposed to before. So you got to think about that. And how you react to the food is how they're going to react to the food. So even if you don't like something, try it and encourage them to try it because, otherwise they never will, right? I remember growing up, there was a lot of things we didn't eat because my mom didn't eat it.
Exactly.
It wasn't that we didn't like it; we just never were given it to us because my mom didn't like it.
Yeah.
So really thinking outside of that box. Yeah.
I had one opportunity, one of the children, when I was in the school, I brought blueberries. And he was like, what is that? And I go, those are blueberries. I've never tried those. Oh, try one. He was like so scared trying it. And I was like, oh, it's good.
Yeah, because those are things that, we may know a mango, we may know an orange, we may know a banana, but we don't necessarily know blueberries or raspberries, right? So again, exposing kids to different foods.
And I would also just piggyback off of that I have the past month done a lot of cauliflower in my senior classes, like roasted cauliflower, a simple recipe for the holidays. Yeah. And a lot of people will say, I just didn't like this as a kid because it was always served mushy. And the same can be said for like a lot of things, like green beans or you name it. There's a laundry list of
always
vegetables.
Overcooked.
Yes, exactly. So just being able to give someone an opportunity to try something again because they just like set in their ways, but like having that opportunity, a positive food environment, be like, oh, you can try this again. Oh, I actually like this. I think I could make this, and it's not that complicated. Can be very powerful.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And
Go ahead.
And based on what you were saying earlier about giving kids the opportunity to try new things, even if it's something that's new to them, one of our classroom agreements when we are teaching, the first one is don't yuck my yum. So we try and like set that kind of like
set that
framework,
tone.
the tone for the rest of the lesson. And it definitely helps, to kind of open up the kids' minds when it comes to food and trying new things.
It's part to be adventurous, right? Don't be afraid to mix ingredients. Like I remember Brussels sprouts, right? Most people do not like Brussels sprouts.
I like Brussels sprouts.
So just put it in a pan, right? And saute it with some cranberries, dry cranberries, and a little bit of olive oil, pepper, and then it just tastes good. So, sometimes it's the texture, like Alisa was saying. Right?
Yes, definitely. I love my steamer because of that. I don't want to cook vegetables that are extremely overcooked and mushy. And so I love my steamer for that. And, it's real simple. You just put stuff in there and just press it and it cooks it perfectly. But I remember I had as an adult, I learned how to eat grits. I had never had grits before. I learned how to eat collard greens. I had never had collard greens before.
Same.
I had never had hummus before, and I learned how to eat that, and now I love it, as an adult. But again, those are things that in our culture was just never a stipend, so we never ate it, But it doesn't mean that I didn't like it, right? And in fact, on the opposite side, there's a lot of things that I ate as a child that I don't eat today. Because now I have more conscious of, that's really not good for me. Like I don't eat pig feet anymore. I don't eat morcillas, which is blood sausage that are made. Like that kind of stuff. I don't eat it anymore. I don't eat corned beef out of a can. Like there's a lot of stuff that I don't eat now thinking, okay, no. That was good when I was little and it tastes delicious. Don't get me wrong. Because, we learn how to make bad things taste really good because that's all there was. But now as an adult, I'm very conscious of that, and being a person that have always had to worry about my weight, whatever little bit I can eliminate out of my daily diet that's not good for me, then the better. And I think the first thing that I did was soda because when I learned how much sugar it had and I went through menopause really, really early in life, and so I knew the effects that it would have on my body, and I was like, you know what, then I just don't need it anymore, and so I try not to drink it. But I think with the younger kids, like it's so good to target them because they'll and they're kids that'll go back home and say to mom, hey mom, I had this at school and it tasted really good, and I want to try it. Can you buy it for me? That type of thing. But I think the younger we can get to them, the better, because it's hard. Do you guys have any statistics when it comes to certain things, when it comes to nutrition, maybe nationwide and even locally, if you have any of, things that our population are dealing with when it comes to nutrition?
I have something from the FBRX that I brought. But
Yeah, I think it would be good if we can give people like some numbers to think about, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, for example, for the FVRX, what we have is 72% of the participants now eat more veggies and are accessible.
Yeah,
right?
as a result of,
Yes.
yeah, cool.
Then we have 61% of the participants eat more fruits and veggies after the program now.
Nice.
50% of participants have the physical activity, have included physical activity attending to the workshops.
Yeah.
67% of the participants have increased the nutrition insecurity, security for receiving the vouchers.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
¿Podrías compartir esos
Sí.
números porque estaba diciendo, ¿verdad? Si tienen algunas tasas, algunos números en cómo esto ha sido afectado, cómo le afecta a las personas que participen.
Sí, bueno, tenemos un poco de información del programa de frutas y vegetales, ¿no? El 72% del programa, los participantes comen más vegetales desde que atienden el programa. 61% de los participantes comen más frutas después de haber atendido el programa. 50% de los participantes son más físicamente activos después de atender el programa y 67% de los participantes han incrementado la inseguridad, han bajado la inseguridad de los alimentos.
Yeah.
Sí.
Esos son muy buenos números, por cierto.
Sí.
Son personas que participan, sí salen impactados con lo que aprenden
Sí.
en la clase.
Sí.
Nice.
Y-
I was just saying that, you know, people that participate are really impacted by what they're learning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I just add too? I know that throughout the year we try to gauge and provide presentations on topics like February is National Heart Month, and we know that like one of the number one killers is heart disease, right? So the connection between heart disease and what we eat, there's a strong connection there. So we have presentations for adults about that. We also do a bone and joint health presentation because osteoporosis is a big concern for folks, and how can you, what can you do as a adult to combat that? And a lot of it has to do with exercise, of
Yeah.
course, and for older women, that's especially important. So just looking for to address those big chronic diseases is tied into our work as well, especially for adults. And I love that we've been talking about children because the relationship that we have with food, it starts right at childhood,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely.
But it is also, you know, you had asked what impact do we have with folks? Have people said, you know, that this has made a big impact? And I did recently have a woman say that she came to a couple of our presentations out in Perrington, and she said, I want you to know you changed my life. I was going through depression, and I had lost my husband, and it was a really hard time, and I had like gone to food. And just being able to hear about strategies to have a healthy relationship with food and what food is good versus bad, because it can be very confusing in the time that we live in, right?
Yeah.
She was like, it just helped me get over that, you know, barrier I was having, and I feel like I'm in a much better place now. So being able to talk about these topics around food can feel really empowering to people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Yeah, I know that you know, a lot of people are emotional eaters, right? They get stressed and they want to eat. And it's always not the best things either. You know, you want to go to the cake or the ice cream or the chocolate type of thing. So being able to recognize that and then having strategies that, okay, instead of the ice cream, I'm going to take this instead. Or maybe do something else, right? That is not food related at all.
Exactly.
Because
Right.
you know, that's the other thing. Like everything we do always has to involve food. And so what other things can we do that are not necessarily food related, right? And that may not cost you anything at all, right? That could be free.
Yeah.
You know, so having a list of those things or thinking about that as a strategy is really good. Yeah, yeah. So what else you want to tell us about your programs?
Oh, that we also go to the farmers market, the Rochester Farmers Market. Actually, this year we were able to be there for 4 times at the kitchen, and we were partnering with Fidelis and also the U of R, Wilmont, the Cancer Center.
Yes.
And it was great because we we were able to reach more population with cancer prevention and food related, right? So
right.
how can we help with the food that we are eating? And we had the researchers also from the U of R. And I think we are going to do that for next year too. So stay tuned for that because we will be at the market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you guys have a lack of nutritionists that can be part of your team? Like, is that something that worries you? I know you guys said you have 4, but I'm assuming that you serve all of Monroe County, which could be a pretty big county, right? And then I'm assuming other counties within our area. Like, how far do you go? I guess is the question.
So we primarily serve Monroe County, but as you know, if you look at the map, there's a lot of towns within there. So each extension office is in a county. So we, like, as far as the county nutrition program goes, where SNAP-Ed is primarily focused on the city of Rochester and a couple of other towns, the county nutrition program serves places like Perrington, Pittsford, Rush, Hilton.
Gotcha.
And so, do you have anything to add about that?
Yeah. For the SNAP-Ed program, our target areas, as Alyssa was mentioning, is the city of Rochester, Gates Tri-Li, Irondequoit, and we do have some flexibility when we do our FERX program. So I'm able to go to Greece to teach an FERX class.
Yeah, and this is because we are, again, trying to focus on the chronic diseases that are food-related chronic diseases.
Yeah, it's important to know, like, how far you guys go and who exactly do you serve. Is there places where you've gone where, I'm assuming that some places have very little resources, some places just don't have. I mean, I'm assuming that in the city you probably have tons of resources and people, but there are probably some other areas where there's not. And which ones would be those places?
Good question.
Yeah.
Very good question.
I mean, so certainly, like, SNAP-Ed has the funding to, like, as an example, we would give a food, like a cooking class, right? Or food demonstration. The same is with like our general nutrition program. But generally speaking, we can bring all the supplies and equipment and accommodate whatever organization it is. So it's just, again, our partnerships and our education is strong because of the partnerships that we have with organizations.
Gotcha.
So we make sure to accommodate organizations because it's important to reach all, like you had mentioned, like how many people do you reach? We want to reach as many people as we can in Monroe County.
Yeah.
So.
And to add that, I'm the bilingual educator, but we also can have interpreters, let's say for Mandarin or Farsi, wherever the language is needed, and also American Sign Language. So we have a budget for that.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good to know because language access is important, right? It's great that you have all this information, but if you can't share it with people that don't necessarily speak English, then it doesn't really help anyone, right? So that's good to know that you do have some resources for language access because that's important. If someone is, let's say a young person is listening and they're like, that sounds like an interesting job. I want to become a nutritionist. What does it take to become a nutritionist?
Yeah, well, definitely going to a college that provides a nutrition and dietetics type of program.
Okay.
And that's usually 4 years, so
Okay.
a bachelor's degree. But I think now you have to have a master's if you're in the nutrition dietetics program. I think they just recently changed that.
Yeah, if you want to become a registered
Dietitian,
Gotcha.
yes.
Registered dietitian, yeah. And I can tell you, we have someone that a registered dietitian who helps us with our menu at the Child Care Center for Ibero. And so we kind of put the menu together. We'll give her some ideas, but then she actually looks at it, make sure that we're, following all the components from the child and adult food program, the serving size, those type of things. And I think one of the fun things that I've discovered, once we hired her, was that she's really brought some really different recipes and different foods to our center that we never had before. So I think that's really cool. Like, we've been able to expose our kids to things that they've never had before. Still, keeping in mind that we mostly serve Latino children, African-American children, but still bringing a little twist to it with something new and different with every menu that we have. So it's kind of cool. So nutritionists are needed.
Yep.
They are needed in our community. We actually use her in that way. We also use her for our Centro de Hora, our senior program as well. So she kind of looks at those menus as well. She's not a full-time staff. We contract her, and it's seasonal, and it has its peaks. During the summer and first of the fall, it gets really busy because she's looking at everything, and then it kind of dies down a little bit, and then gets busy again in the spring because we create a different menu for the spring and summer. But it's really cool, to be able to have someone that really knows about nutrition and is really looking out for the best interest of the children, and also exposing them to different things. So that's why I kind of ask, if someone is interested in what does it take to go to school for this, because I think it's one of those fields that people don't think about too much, but it's really needed in our community.
And I was also going to just add, because I remember being at that age in life and wondering, what am I going to pursue?
Yeah.
Like, the general nutrition program is actually looking for volunteers. So feel free to reach out to us, even if you wanted to just come and shadow, right?
And get a feel of it.
Yeah. I think that's a great way to see what the career path is. Of course, dietitians and nutrition professionals are in all realms, right? Hospitals is a big one too. But I think community nutrition, it takes like a kind of a special person that really wants to do work out in the community and kind of put themselves out there to be, chefs, right? To prepare food, to feel confident to use a chef knife and do those things and like food and all that. So it's
and
a
educate,
really profession.
passion to educate.
Exactly.
Yeah. It definitely needed. So I'm hoping that anyone young that's out there that still haven't decided, okay, what do I want to be when I grow up, can definitely take this into consideration. And it's cool that you offer an opportunity for folks to shadow and kind of get a feel of what it's like to be able to do that type of work. Are you guys looking for schools or other organizations to kind of join in and become partners with you where they, again, may have a captured audience? I know that I'm kind of glad to hear that you guys are doing things in the schools with the younger kids, because we don't have home economic anymore. And some of this you would learn through home economics, but we don't have that anymore. Most schools don't have that as an option anymore. And so, where are they getting this nutrition part of their education if they're not getting it, through home economics? So are you looking to partner with other schools and maybe provide us some numbers and contact information where they can reach you guys in the event that they are interested?
Can I just say I want to just plug one program that Cornell Cooperative Extension has that actually kind of fills that void of home economics is our 4-H program.
Okay.
Right. So we do actually have a lot of after school programs and like gardening programs with many educators. I think there's like 3 or 4 educators, and they serve Monroe County, and they're in a lot of schools too.
Nice.
So
definitely.
they do a lot of ag work, but they talk about food too. So there is that kind of crossover, STEM too. So
Nice.
science.
Yeah, there are times that we also partner with them. Like I remember going to the Eugenio Maria.
They also charge the school.
Yes. So we did the nutrition education. It was a 4-H, so they did mindfulness. So we kind of combine what we know to share, right?
Yeah, because that's another thing. Foods that really clear your mind, right? That make you be more sharp and be quick on your feet. Because food can do that for you. The same way they can make you, a couch potato. So there's foods that'll make you sharp and think straight and think on your feet. So I could see how that was combined and how that was helpful. Yeah. So any numbers that people can call or website or anything like that?
I have the FBRX number.
Yeah.
If anyone would like to participate. So it's the 585-478-1480. Again, it's 585-478-1480.
Okay.
And then the person to also email will be Kelly. Her email is kss237@cornell.edu. That's kss237@cornell.edu.
So, Iluminada, si nos puedes repetir el número en español, porque estábamos diciendo si alguna persona está interesada en cualquiera de sus programas, a dónde se pueden llamar y con quién se pueden conectar.
Sí. Para las clases de frutas y vegetales, el teléfono es el 585-478-1480. Otra vez 585-478-1480. Y también tenemos el correo electrónico y se comunican con Kelly, conmigo. Se van a comunicar conmigo. Mi correo es I latina V de Victoria, 55 @cornell, cornell.edu. edu.
Okay. Perfecto.
Sí.
Repítenos el número una vez más.
Para español, perdóneme, porque el número que les he dado es para inglés. So, para español es el 240-426-7477.
Okay.
420-427477.
Okay, perfecto.
Okay.
And if they also want to just call our office, they can call and reach us at 585-753-2550.
Okay.
So that's also an easy, give us a call.
Yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
May I have them?
She wants to repeat the number in
Oh,
Spanish.
yes. Okay.
Eso lo puedo decir en español para que ustedes se comuniquen
Sí.
también con la oficina.
Thank you.
Gracias. Es el 585-753-2550.
Okay, perfecto. So, cualquier persona que esté interesado en participar en cualquiera de estas clases, tienen varias con diferentes temas, dependiendo cuál es más que le interese o si le interesa a todos, pueden ir a todas. Están buscando participantes o pueden llamar esos números para poder participar en cualquiera de los talleres que tienen.
Y si desean decirle a su médico para que ellos participen con nosotros en el programa de frutas y vegetales, que se comuniquen con nosotros y así podemos tratar de hacer una partnership.
Sí, hacer una colaboración con ellos. Sí, perfecto.
Sí.
Anything else that you want to share before we close out?
Thank you for having us. This
of
has been very
course.
fun.
Yes. This is very helpful. And, I'm glad that we have you here. If anything else develops or you add any kind of new program or if you want to come back, in a while to kind of share again what's going on in the community and how people can contact you, I would love to have you back. I think it's important. This is exactly the type of information that we like this program to take out to the community where it's going to help them improve their life, right? This whole program is about quality of life and improving the quality of life of our people in our community. And so this is perfect for this type of program. So we appreciate it. I like to end the show by asking if there's a phrase or a saying that you grew up with that still resonates with you today. And I'm curious to know who has one. So I don't know who wants to go first. Okay, go ahead.
So I think just because I did pursue nutrition, the first health is wealth. I think that really came up. It's a Ralph Waldo Emerson.
like
It's pretty
that.
classic.
Yeah.
But it is. I think it's true. And the older that I get, and the more awareness I have around my own personal health and the health of others, and how that impacts our lives and livelihood.
Yeah.
Just having your health, especially around the holiday season. You can gather with your family and friends and just be thankful and grateful for that. So.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank if you're not well enough, right? To enjoy it. It doesn't mean anything, right?
Right.
If you're not healthy to enjoy it,
right.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And a good laugh goes a long way.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. What about you? You have one?
Yeah. So growing up, my dad always stressed how hard work and having a good work ethic will take you far in life. So my quote kind of revolves around that. It's the only way to do great work is to love what you do. So that's just a simple, saying, just loving what you do, and it'll resonate throughout your life as well.
Yeah, good one. ¿Y tú?
Oh, sí. So primero en inglés, después.
Como quieras, como tú quieras.
So my dad, he always had this saying, and of course then he told me that it was from Hippocrates. So is that, let food be thy medicine and medicine be thy food. It's so important nowadays, right?
Yes.
To recognize that what we eat is very important for our bodies. And whenever I had the chance to talk to participants, I tell them, look at your body as a laboratory. What are you giving to your body? Is it going to benefit you or is it going to harm you?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
that's a good
everything in
one.
moderation.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Everything in moderation, and you know, I wish our world was different and everything wasn't supersized and that type of thing, right? Life was much simpler many years ago, but now it's hard, and you know, like I said, it's something that that I wish we could all be more mindful of what we put, you know, in our bodies. So thank you all for being here with us today. We really appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Gracias a todos por acompañarnos en esta mañana. Lo esperamos nuevamente el próximo sábado de 10 a 11 de la mañana en Poder 97.1 FM, la única estación radial latina dueña y operado por latinos para la comunidad. Los esperamos próximamente y que tengan una linda semana. Hasta la próxima, mi gente.